your goodbyes met me with eyes that cried. How can I go on, dear, without you? You took a part that once was my heart, so why not take all of me? I was invited to present at a conference in Coventry, England. Since I would be going so far to present, John and I decided to make a trip of it and spent 14 days in England. We landed at Heathrow and immediately started making our way northwest to Coventry. Jet-lagged or not, I had to lead a 2-hour workshop at Coventry University for 36 participants. Coventry is a city in the West Midlands County in the UK on the River Sherborne. It became a wealthy city in the Middle Ages and later became an important industrial center, becoming home to a large bicycle industry in the 19th century. And in the 20th century, it became a major center for the British motor industry. Between leading the training and attending events at the conference, John and I had a chance to do a little sightseeing in Coventry. The city has 3 universities: Coventry University in the city center where I did training during this trip, the University of Warwick on the southern outskirts, and a small private school, Arden University. The city is very walkable, with many large open plazas and interesting artwork throughout. The home of Lady Godiva, she has a statue in the middle of a pedestrian mall that has a very young and urban vibe mixed in with the medieval buildings that somehow survived the German air blitzes of 1940 to 1942. Legend has it that Lady Godiva rode naked on horseback through the streets of Coventry to protest unjust taxes levied upon the citizens by her husband, the Earl of Mercia. During the Middle Ages, Coventry hosted a national parliament. In 1404, King Henry IV held a parliament in Coventry to raise money to fight a rebellion, which wealthy cities such as Coventry lent him to do. During the War of the Roses, the royal court was moved by Margaret of Anjou, the wife of Henry VI. This, however, came to an end in 1461 when Edward IV, the White Rose, won. We also spent some time touring St. Michael's Cathedral. The 14th century church was largely destroyed in December 1940, leaving only the outer walls and spire. At 300 feet high, the spire is claimed to be the 3rd tallest cathedral spire in England after Salisbury and Norwich. It was very moving to walk around the remains of the church. The amount of stained glass remaining in the bombed-out windows was both amazing and beautiful. Steps worn over time. I wonder where this would have gone to.
What's that?
I wonder where this would have gone to.
Yeah, I'm thinking to.
Is it? Did it go to a pulpit?
Oh, that could be too.
We also toured the new cathedral, which was featured in the 2009 film Nativity. Construction began in 1955 and was completed in 1962. The large windows at the front of the church facing the old St. Michael's Cathedral are etched with ghost-like saints and angels. John Lennon and Yoko Ono planted 2 acorns outside the new cathedral in 1968. The baptistry window is made of 195 panels of stained glass, creating, as the designer described it, a burst of glory. Beneath the window, the baptistry font is fashioned from a rough boulder obtained from a hillside overlooking Bethlehem. There are many beautiful art pieces throughout the church, but a highlight is the large green tapestry at the front of the church. We were lucky enough to run into a docent named Janet, who took the time to highlight aspects of the architecture of the new building. She told us that the architect who was chosen was the only one among the other architects that didn't want to tear down the old cathedral ruins.
Which Graham Sutherland wanted, they were going to weave it in, I think, 13 pieces and stitch it together. But it was wanted to be in one piece.
So I see what you're saying. This is all deliberate color differences.
Yeah.
So
And the greens are deliberate as well.
The original painting had that.
Yes, if you go downstairs, you'll see the original painting. And the weavers took the brush strokes, and so the places where he painted, there wasn't enough paint on his brush. The information. There's Graham Sutherland's signature.
Sutherland.
And then on that side, the Pinnerton Weaver's signature. But this thing he did, that bit there, that's quite heavy.
So one last question.
Yeah.
You obviously have a role here.
Yeah. I'm a lay chaplain.
Okay.
Which means I'm here during the weeks, some days, just to be around to talk to people and to pray. We try to pray once an hour, but if we've got a big tour party and we try to be sensitive to the fact they've got to fit everything in. So I missed the 2 o'clock one. And the 3 o'clock was a little bit late. And then I also work with the schools team, taking the school children around.
Okay.
So yeah, it's exciting. So I love talking about the building.
And you just overheard an ignorant American asking questions, and you stepped in to redeem.
If I see somebody who's interested,
Yeah.
if I hear somebody who's interested,
Sure.
I'm quite happy to share that.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
And when you looked from the other end, you would see grey walls. From this end,
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
When you were at the other end and you looked this way, the walls were grey. From here, when you look that way, the weather's not good for us today, but can you see you're not seeing grey walls? It's these things. Tremendous thing. And so you've got the resurrection. But if you stop, and you can see the grey walls and you can see the tapestry, yeah, but if you stop there, you've not done the whole thing. You've stopped the resurrection. You've not carried on to the ascension. If Jesus had only risen, he would have died again a few years later with age. But because he rose again and then ascended into heaven, as Christians we believe that he's with us today and that he walks with us today, that he's not somebody who was alive 2,000 years ago. For a Christian, he's somebody who's alive with us today. And so you've got to do the whole journey, and it's only when you've done the whole journey you can see all the windows. It's a bit like going up a hill, you know, to go up a mountain. You don't see the whole view. You're climbing out of Everest and you only get up to base. That's it. And that's it, you see. And if you don't go and make the whole thing, then you miss out. So you only see the whole thing, and the windows tell the story of life. There's the green on each side is the same, different pictures but the same. The green, beginning of life. The next one, learning and childhood. The next one, adulthood. The next one, old age, and the final one, heaven.
The charred cross inside the new cathedral was found in the rubble from the old cathedral the day after the bombing, and it was taken as a sign of hope. While there is a replica outside, the original from the medieval beams is safely kept behind plexiglass. In the basement is a museum of sort, with photographs and salvage pieces from the old church. All in all, our trip to St. Michael's Cathedral was very memorable, and I would highly recommend it. And many thanks to Janet, who provided so many great insights. These are double martinis, if you can believe it. That's kind of funny. So they make half-tinis. I think that's a real martini. Anyway, we are sitting at our hotel, at the Telegraph Hotel. It's very mid-century modern. We've been writing in our book and looking at where we're going next, which is St. Mary's Guildhall. Is where we're going for dinner tonight.
It may be a jigger and a half, but
So John, how many shots are in these now that they're fuller than when I was videotaping earlier?
and actually,
Uh-oh, did you get more? Let's see.
no, you got a hair more.
Oh no.
So
So you took care of that for me?
the picture Elizabeth just showed you is a quadruple Hendrick's Gin Martini. Quadruple Hendrick's Gin Martini. And it doesn't even come close to what we serve ourselves.
All right, John, what was maybe the first thing you noticed about Coventry? Remember how we created our little travel journal prompts? So what was one thing that you noticed about Coventry when you got here? We got here yesterday at we checked in at 2:30 p.m.
That it's not a visually boring city, which we've read about.
Yeah.
It's got some mid-century modern buildings for sure, but it's also got some 17th and 15th and 14th century architecture, which is mixed in and I think makes it very interesting. It's got a city center, which is just a big, open, pedestrian, not just retail, but there are restaurants and so forth, but it's a delightful, big, open plaza. And everyone I've interacted with has been very, very friendly, even when they know I'm from the United States, which is damn refreshing.
That is. All right. Thank you, John. And we're writing in our book. So we went here today, had a tour, and that's what we're doing right now. On our last night in Coventry, we attended a final reception and dinner for the conference at St. Mary's Guildhall, located across the street from the St. Michael's Cathedral ruins. There's a beautiful courtyard beyond the street entrance, and the reception was held in the Great Hall. During the medieval period, the Earl of Mercia and his wife, Lady Godiva, founded a Benedictine monastery in 1043 dedicated to St. Mary. Upon roughly the same spot, St. Mary's Guildhall, originally built in 1342, is one of the more notable surviving medieval buildings still in Coventry. The medieval semicircular window that faces St. Michael Cathedral's ruins highlights King Henry VI's lineage, including William the Conqueror and King Arthur. King Henry VI is best known as Mad King Henry, and probably would have been diagnosed with catatonic schizophrenia today. He briefly moved the capital to Coventry, which is why the locals still love him. Unfortunately, his illness caused the War of the Roses, where two parts of the same family fought to take over from the Mad King. Also notable is that Mary, Queen of Scots, was imprisoned here for 3 months, beginning November 1569 under the orders of Queen Elizabeth I. The conference had arranged an upright bass and keyboard duo to play standards for the crowd. I requested that they play Bewitched, Bothered, and Bewildered, which they were kind enough to play for me. Then I noticed John and my boss chatting to the side, which resulted in John walking up and offering the musicians money if they would let me sing with them. The bass player responded, "Sure, but I don't want your money. I'm British." We're not quite sure what that meant. Anyway, I did a mediocre version of All of Me, and they and the crowd were very kind. The faded tapestry behind the musicians beneath the window is still in situ, meaning it is where it was woven to be after more than 500 years. It was made in the early 1500s during the reign of King Henry VII, or Henry Tudor, to honor his uncle Henry VI. You know, the Mad King Henry who lost in the Battle of the Roses before Henry VII defeated Richard III at the Battle of Bosworth. It's a good thing I watched the White Queen miniseries, or this would be very confusing. Our second and final night in Coventry ended with the conference goers having fun back at the Telegraph Hotel. Maybe I didn't need that quadruple martini to kick the night off with, after all. Next we will head to Stratford-upon-Avon and Oxford. Until then, thanks for stopping by.